What's up, fellow lords of gaming, and welcome back to another episode of Marvel Future Fight. So today we got the update details basically for the mid-month, which doesn't feature an actual Black Panther, doesn't feature a Midnight Angel, doesn't feature so many things that we would have expected, synergy uniforms and stuff like that for a Wakanda Forever update. And I guarantee you, knowing that we haven't rolled into it, we probably won't see these things inside of an update anytime soon. I just don't imagine it. Like, there's no reason to come back to this for them. If you know, you know. So let's take a look at the patch update details here that we did get. So, all right. So this is who we're getting. From the team, we're basically getting Ghost Rider and Punisher and Captain America inside the update. So there's going to be two uniforms that are going to be 50% discount event is going to be applied for them, which is a good thing because it doesn't delay you, the player, from having to purchase these items or wanting to purchase them because of waiting around for Black Friday sales and things like that. We know we're normally getting a 50% uniform discount during Black Friday. So there you have that, right? So let's take a look at Captain America. Where's he at? Let's see. So his uniform, we want to take a look at his uniform effect first off, because I think that there's quite a bit here to take a look at. So he gets a new enhancement to his master combatant skill inside this update. So it's like Captain America back to basic. He gets a hefty increase to that increased basic attack. It's now going to be 40%. He loses the fire damage as we expected, right? But then he also gains decreased chain hit damage by 10% when attacked. The activation rate is now changed to when his HP is below 70%. He applies to self. He still gains that 100% chance for immunity. All damages increased by 1 second, and he gets that frenzy buff with a little uptick in it. Is now 25, 1, and 20. So unfortunately, one of the things that I don't think has changed very much is his heroic ultimate skill, unless there's the visual. It does list this as a change, I guess, or maybe it's not listed as a change. Yeah, doesn't really list it as a change. So it's still a VPad skill. Now, the one thing that's missing from the wording here that leads me to believe that the change is there is that it says you can move while using the VPad skill, but if you notice this right here, it says tapping and holding the skill icon will charge the skill and release it will commence the attack. That wording is now missing from his heroic charge ultimate skill. So the hope is, I think that they've changed this skill inside here overall. I think a lot of players would love that, because the messed up part about this is that I think people hated this overall. So hopefully that is now removed from his skills. So applying to enemies, he gets the stun, which is now increased to 5 seconds. He loses the movement speed decrease by 24% on that skill. He still keeps the decrease all defense down by 50% as well. The application to self is also changed. He still keeps the 15% ignore defense. He still keeps the ignore target dodge rate by 100%. He still keeps the 80% chance. He increases basic all attacks is going to be all basic attacks by 60% for one attack is gonna be inside there. And then what I'm seeing here is that we get the increase all basic attack by 15%. So his true damage accumulation, that is also not inside his ultimate skill anymore. So it leads me to believe that his heroic ultimate has been changed. He still keeps the increase all basic attacks by 50%. So I suspect that there's going to be some significant changes here with his ultimate skill, which for him will be a great thing, because I think that was one of the main things that people disliked about the character, if I'm being honest with you, is his heroic was pretty terrible, if I'm being honest with you. It's one of the reasons why I never really liked playing him as much. His new leadership is just an increase of 15%, so he's now going to have 45% increase of HP. This is going to really matter for a character like Hulk, where you could then use him and boost up the HP, because that's a significant increase of HP to the character overall. So you might end up wanting to run Cap and Hulk together. The heroic passive, heroism, removes all debuffs, still the same, not a lot changed there at all. His unbeatable passive, which was previously called hold the line, as you see here, is now going to have super armor increase by 40%, increase the skill damage by 40%, and damage by 35%. Decrease. So nothing's changed, but they've changed it, or nothing's changed really here. That's really here. I guess you get the little uptick in 5% to this decreased basic damage received. That's not a lot to change. So I'm wondering if there's there's got to be something new about the skill in order for them to change the name of it. They wouldn't just leave the passive there for some yeah, okay. Can you guys tell I'm not excited about this update? And so we get stunned for 2 seconds. We still get the 100% chance to grant immunity all damage. He obviously loses out on the fire attack there in his second skill. Shield Slam was now what it's called. Hero's Fist is now what Rough Advance is called. Bleed is still on the skill. We all hate bleed, don't really understand it, but he has a recovery effect. He also gains fracture on his 2 skills, so that's really good, right? On his 3rd skill, which is shield counterattack, he still keeps the stun, which is there now increased for 3 seconds. The incapacitation is added to the skill. He loses the paralysis, and then he gets a whole bevy of other skills. So for instance, he gets the 40% chance to penetrate, super armor, physical immunity, shield, all damage, immune, invincible effects. He gets the 100% chance to grant immune to all damage. And then he actually gains the accumulation on this skill, and it's an accumulation of 20% of pure damage when attacking, 1% increase of all basic attacks, each 1% pure damage. So this is where his new ability is going to be. So it'd be interesting to see how that looks. 4th skill, Iron Support, applies to enemies. Surprisingly, for some reason, he still keeps the burn damage on this skill. So it's decreased because it's only 25%, but he still keeps the burn damage. He loses the bleed, but he gains shock, which deals 30% lightning damage. And then he has stun as well on the skill for 3 seconds. He also gains he still has the invincible for 5 seconds, and he gains an increase all basic attack by 20%. Now it's going to be really interesting because he has burn and shock there, and then he also has stun. I'm wondering how that's going to play out, how they're going to give him burn and shock on a skill. It says Iron Support, so my thought is that this is going to be a team up skill with Iron Man. I assume, right? That's my assumption anyways. So number 5 is Phoenix Slam, is now called Leaping Smash. Deals bleed damage instead of burn, 25%, decreases the recovery rate obviously on the bleed. Paralysis is going to be there, still ignores immunity 1 second. He still keeps the recovers 25% of HP, and then on his frenzy buff, it's a nice frenzy buff of 51 and 1. So basically a nice 50% all attack boost over there. So that's Cap. So Cap is looking pretty spicy. I think the change to his heroic skill alone is going to make him a character that make this a likable character. The HP alone for that as well probably will rocket him for, so even if you don't want to use him and purchase the uniform, you still probably end up getting the uniform just for the Hulk thing anyways, the Hulk effect, because that should be a nice boost for Hulk to get some damage out. Next up, we've got Punisher, right? So Punisher was Cosmic Ghost Rider. He is in fact losing his universal tag and basically gaining the combat tag. It's very interesting that they're giving him the superhero, the superhero identity in this uniform, which is called Fist of the Beast. It's really interesting that they're giving him that that tag. Go read the comic books and you'll understand what I mean by I don't know how to give him that tag, but anyways, applies to self. He increases the basic damage to supervillain faction by 50. He increases the basic damage dealt. No, so he loses the superhero faction by 50 in this new ability, but he still keeps the increased basic damage to supervillain faction. He has a 40% chance to increase critical damage by 80% on critical attacks now. So he loses out on a decreased basic damage received as well. So bit of a hefty nerf there, my friends, on his uniform effect. So not looking so great to start off with. But realistically, and this is the sad part about giving Punisher a uniform now, especially when you gave him the Cosmic Ghost Rider one, is it should be a significant nerf. He literally went from being a universal cosmic entity Ghost Rider that was literally battling on par with some of the best and gods in the universe to now going back to street vigilante justice. So how do you justify this? So let's take a look at some more of his skills. Vigilante justice has a minor uptick there, increase to all allies. The basic attack is now going to be 30% instead of 24%. We know there are far better leaderships out there than that, so I consider that like it's a wash in my opinion, I guess. Pain tolerance was his previous skill, is now going to be called Eyes of the Beast. We see there's not a lot on this skill in the first place, so there's like a decreased skill cooldown by 10%, but he gains 40% increase of HP. He increases skill damage by 40% and increases bonus damage by 35%, and then the decreased basic damage received by 30%. So basically what they've done here is they moved some of the uniform effects from the previous uniform to his Eyes of the Beast passive. Okay, sort of credible way to do that with them. It's a little weird that, it is there. But anyways, so we get One Man Army is now Dark Awakening. Wasn't a whole lot on this skill in the first place. So we get critical damage increase by 25%, ignore target's dodge rate by 40% now, and then decrease additional pierce damage taken by 50%. That's really interesting. Decreases additional pierce damage taken by 50%. That's interesting. That's mighty interesting. That's a hell of a skill there, right? So let's take a look at his skills overall. So Cosmic Revenge had nothing on it before, doesn't really have anything on it now. It's called Slash of the Hand, and it basically has Fracture inside of it. So his 2 skill was Killer Furious Lava Lash, is now called Killer Stunt. We basically get Bleed on this skill instead of Burn. This one, so like this is interesting how they play around with the bleed skills, because I don't know if it's just the wording. I haven't really tested out because bleed is just bleed. But where you saw Captain America has the reduced recovery rate by 50% wording on it, this one doesn't. So there's not there. It just says deals additional 30% damage right there for removes elasticity. So it's a little bit different. I'll show you what I mean by the wording inside that here in a second. Actually, I'll just show it to you right now. So like if we were to look at that, you can see the bleed damage here on this one. It says deals additional, right, for the removes elasticity. But then when you would look at like the bleed damage caused by Cap, it also has the decreased recovery rate by 50%, which removes elasticity. So it's an interesting, thing. Like they need a little bit more consistency there to make sure that we're getting the same effect, or that bleed is having the same effect instead of 2 effects, right? So and then he has Stun and Silence on that skill for 2 and 3 seconds, losing the snare effect. So Hell Chain Wave is now going to be Road to Death. So we get applies to enemies. So this is now going to be a counter attack skill. And it also has ignore targeting. So this is going to be pretty nice. Incapacitation on this skill, paralysis, which ignores immunity. He recovers 30% of his HP now, 60% chance to penetrate, and then 100% chance to grant immunity to all damage. And then an increase, he gets a nice frenzy buff of increased basic attack by 50, 30, and then 6. That's a pretty nice skill right there for Road to Death. That's pretty spicy and juicy. Yeah, we'll have to see. Now, on this skill, you notice that it accumulates pure damage up to a max of HP for here. He loses out on that skill. It's not there with inside his 3rd skill at all. And to be honest with you, looking at his kit, he doesn't appear to have a damage accumulation skill on his kit at all. So looking at his 4th skill, which was Power Cosmic Pulse, is now Road to Death. It applies to enemies. He gets a incapacitation, Excuse me, I'm reading the wrong damn thing. It's called Beast Wrath. It gives you burn, deals 30% of fire damage, decrease all basic defenses by 30%, increase all basic attacks and defenses by 50%. And then we get a frenzy buff of 51 and 20, which isn't so bad because we're basically just losing out on maybe like 20%. I think, oh no, this is only stacked up to 25, so it's now a little uptick. We lose out on decrease all buff effects by 25% though. Yeah. So Final Hunt is going to be his new 5th skill, and on that one we get paralysis, which ignores immunity. We get invincible for 5 seconds, and then that's it. That's literally all that's on his 5th skill. Now, like we are aware that Punisher is gaining his tier 3 skill in this, and it is not very wordy at all. Like it's basically burn for 30 damage, paralysis for which ignores immunities for 3 seconds, and then we get invincible, increase basic damage by 1 attack, increase all basic attacks by 60, and that's it. That is literally his T3. See this, the number of hits going off here. He's got like decent number of hits happening on the skill. We'll have to see how it plays out overall. That's the hard thing about reading through patch notes, right? Is that, you know, especially with Marvel Future, they don't necessarily, they could read like they're great on paper, but unless you see how the skill actually interacts, sometimes it's a loss. So anyways, Captain America's striker skill, he's basically increasing all basic attacks by 100% and ignore all damage over the max HP plus 15%. I have no clue what this means. Ignore damage, all damage over max HP. So I gotta see what the hell that means. Symbol of Freedom is gonna be his new We do get a new artifact for Punisher, which has activation effect. He gets the 50% chance to remove all debuffs received, an additional 4.5%, and ignore non-boss enemy damage decreased by 20%. So it looks like Punisher is going to be set up here probably for PvP, and Cap is going to be set up for PvE. And maybe we'll see. It's interesting because I was waiting to see if they were going to have any kind of additional artifacts changes or something like that. Like my anticipation was that the reason why they're releasing Captain America, since he's the first person to get his artifact, and you know he's coming back now, we haven't had another character that's already had an artifact, is that there were going to be some major artifact improvements and stuff like that to take place. No, that's not happening. We just don't get a new artifact for him or any artifact changes. By the way, they did also make an update to Black Bolt's tier 6 skills. So he's going to have increased additional pierce damage by 8% on his skill now. So he's the thing is, I want to know if this means that Black Bolt is basically going to get the increase now, like this is going to be new in addition to what it was before, or it's going to be performing the same as it was. So he's increasing his additional pierce damage by 8%, and then increasing all basic attacks by 50%, and increases final damage by 70%, and that should be his final skill. I'll have to play with him today before the update to see exactly how that pans out. And then they had some issues of wording being fixed or whatever, but that is essentially the update for today. Now, beware that there's also going to be some events that are starting. Don't forget that the event shop is ending, so make sure you jump in there and grab some of those last second purchases, rewards inside here. You know, I always love the gold shops inside there. They do have some other events that are going to be going down, so to continue the celebration. So we've got 50% off on uniform options. Let me show you these so that way you guys have them. So Captain America's uniform, we've got Black Widow Golden Gate Vigilante. Why? Gambit, Scarlet Witch. This is cool, except that it's an old uniform, so I don't know why they have this one, because it's like, I don't know, I don't get that. Like, this is a bad uniform to have there for her. It's not the newest uniform. Heimdall, Asgard Invasion. This is a good uniform for him. Sharon Rogers, Light Sirius. Really? I think the Light Sirius is her newest one. So then we got Punisher, Fist of the Beast. It looks like they kept it some. There was other uniforms that they could have gone in here. And why do they have Ebony Maw, Dark Obsidian armor inside there? So you got America Chavez from Doctor Strange, not a bad thing. Captain Britain, Hellfire Gala. It wasn't a really good uniform. Didn't pop for Psylocke like we expected it to. Elektra, Woman Without Fear, cool. A Daredevil, Fall from Grace, cool. But why the Ebony Maw uniform inside here? Who knows? Don't forget, we're going to have the growth bonus missions inside there for Captain America and for him. And then we got some of the gold bonus missions, some event world bosses, some giveaways as well. And there's going to be an art book chance up event. So if you haven't collected any of these art books, here's your time to be able to do it. So they're going to also put Black Bolt's Fallen Soul uniform back on sale. Well, not on sale. It's back in the shop for 1,750 crystals. That's kind of cool. Gives you guys second chance, unless unless you have buyer's remorse, and well, I guess it's not technically buyer's remorse, unless you regret it not picking it up, which I think a lot of people will be because of the changes to Black Bolt. And to be honest with you, I think he's a better Universal than Thor is, and I enjoy playing him a lot with his rotation. Thor's rotation is a little bit slower in my opinion, but I'm really enjoying Black Bolt. So take a look at it. Let me know what you guys think. We'll see what else comes inside the update. I expect that, don't forget that to log in every day because we're still continuing the Black Friday countdown. So it is what it is. Oh yeah, they added on an additional update detail. The critical damage effect of the mighty and brilliant CTPs of Rage has been improved to be effective against enemies with high defense as well. I don't know what the hell that means necessarily, and it doesn't give us a whole lot to go on, but they're just saying that the effect of it is being improved somehow to affect enemies in high defenses. So whether that's dealing additional pierce damage or what it is, we'll have to see after the update to see what happens. But those details should be, I think that this is going to be a rolling wave update again. So the update should take place, I guess, tonight. Like, let me double check on that one real quick. Yeah, so the update is going to be scheduled for starting at 1900 Pacific Standard Time tonight. So that would be 7 o'clock. So 10 o'clock Eastern Time is when it should start. And yeah, we'll see what happens. It would basically be a rolling patch update for that. Or no, they're doing a full, yes, patch applied in waves. So we'll have to see what happens after that. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Until next time, peace.